Greeting YouTube. Back in the ancient days when maps were a valuable but incredibly inaccurate thing, when the foundations of navigation were first being developed, you would often see little here be monster symbols because they thought there might be monsters out there, and it was a world of the unknown for many of those people. And the folks making the maps were somewhat fanciful to boot. And they went out there with the assumption there would be monsters. And sometimes they were right. There are creatures in the world that are monstrous. But too often we apply that term to us, to humans, monster. And I am loath to call a person a monster. I will say their actions are monstrous, but that's different than labeling them a monster. Because when you label something a monster, you have a frame of reference in your head of what a monster looks like. I've done a series of book reviews here on my channel which deal with mythical creatures. Uh, Scholastic did an entire series of these over the years. I think I've reviewed like 4 or 5 of them or something like that. Oddly, they're incredibly popular on my channel, so I'm quite appreciative of them. Um, and you look through it, and the images you see are monstrous. But there's also images of people in there, just like historical figures that aren't monsters, but they're in books of monsters because their actions were monstrous. And and this is a book aimed at, tweens. The whole idea of looking at mythical creatures or movie creatures, or one of them's even got Godzilla in it. Um, but when you look at pictures of people, you have to divorce yourself from the idea that they're gonna look like a monster. Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy are two of my favorite examples. Go look at a picture of them. They don't look like monsters. They look unassuming. And I've read stories about people who encountered them and survived because they never knew. One guy went on a date with Ted Bundy, but it just didn't click. Vibe was off for a good reason. Um, so he survived, even though he still found the man attractive. I guess apparently he was quite well received as a potential partner in his community at one point. Um, but he didn't look dangerous. He was able to talk his way out of problems with the cops, mostly because he's a white dude. But if we come around looking for monsters, we're going to miss the folks that aren't. Ted Bundy just looked like an ordinary dude. He lured people into his sphere of influence by putting on a fake cast and then asking for help with something. Someone once said that you should have known that was a sign of danger because no man ever asked for help, which is funny and sadly also, frankly, quite true. Um, but it worked. He played on people's general decency. He made them pay for that with their life. They died screaming because they wanted to help someone that they thought needed help, which is terrifying. But he wasn't a monster. He was just monstrous. So here be monsters, here be dragons. Those are entertaining little quips. They're funny anecdotes, artifacts of a bygone era. But we have to divorce ourselves from that as a concept that we need to look for monsters. The person that is most dangerous is the one that you consider to be absolutely bland and unassuming. The one that can get close to you without you even thinking about it because they don't look dangerous until it's too late. And that may sound horrible because it is. I can't sugarcoat that. But yeah, there are monsters in our hearts maybe, and our actions are monstrous. But don't go looking for one, because you're not going to see it with your eyes. Look at people's actions, not what they look like. It's a bit cliched, I know, but still true.